Oftentimes, nonprofits decide to pay people working, just a few hours at a flat rate, and report that income to them on a 1099 at the end of the year. Well, that would be what's referred to as contractor pay. And I would tell you, in my experiences, there's a lot of situations where treatment of this kind of pay as a contractor is absolutely not correct, and really is important because it subjects you to some liabilities. Those liabilities would include taxes that would be owed. You would also potentially look at penalties for having misclassified them, and then interest on those particular things that have not been paid correctly. So I wanted to just share a couple of examples today. The Supreme Court has ruled on many cases regarding what's called the classification of employees, whether they're contractors or employees. And those court cases have resulted in about 12 factors that are often looked at in determining whether an individual is an employee or a contractor. And I thought today I would just pull out 5 of the most common and then provide you with an example of how those would apply. One of the factors that are looked at is considered the hiring party's right to control the manner and means by which the product is accomplished. So in this case, we'll be talking about nonprofits. And so this one would be saying, does the nonprofit control the manner, the means by which that product is delivered? Another one would be the source of the instruments and tools provided to do the job. So does the nonprofit supply these things, whether it's a computer or cafe equipment or classroom? If any of the examples there apply and you're providing those places for this employee or this individual to complete their work, then the chances are very high that they are an employee. Another would be the location of the work. If the work occurs on the nonprofit's premises, typically that means, again, that they are an employee. Number 7, or a 7th factor that often shows up, is the extent of the hired party's discretion over when and how long to work. So does the nonprofit schedule the hours of operation or the hours of activity that this individual will be present to perform the duties? If so, then that again typically indicates that it's an employee relationship. And the last one I want to share about today, keep in mind there are 12 of them and we're just hitting 5 of them today, is whether or not the work is part of the regular business of the nonprofit. So does the nonprofit normally have this aspect of work as part of their operations? If so, then yes, again, this is probably an employee and not a contractor. There are many other variables that you can continue on to look at, but in applying those patterns to the example of a cafe worker, so say, for example, that this nonprofit has a cafe, the cafe is open during the time that their building is open to the people that they serve, then all 5 of the ones we just went over would indicate that this is an employee. Another example would be childcare workers. If the nonprofit provides childcare services to either their staff or members during certain activities or periods of times that they're open, here again, it would be clear that based on those 5 alone, this would be an employee relationship. And so the individual would need to be paid as an employee on payroll. They would need to meet all of the necessary payroll laws and taxes, so the employer would contribute the FICA Medicare taxes that match those that are paid by the employee and withheld from the employee's paycheck, and they would receive a W-2 at the end of the year. All right, well, these can always be very interesting what-if scenarios that you could be bumping into, so I encourage you, if you are, consult your state's Workforce Commission or the Department of Labor resources for further guidance. And by all means, if it can be of any help, please feel free to reach out to me and let me know what you're looking at, and I can help resource you in that.